afternoon. Welcome to Daily Currency Insight from the Currency Desk. Today in the morning session, we had a strong strengthening of the Indian rupee against the US dollar. So we saw the rate come down from 55.80 to below 55.60 levels. The major reason for the rally in the Indian rupee was that yesterday evening we had strong statements from the German Chancellor Angela Merkel saying that it would support the Eurozone and the ECB in any policy measures or the further integration of the Eurozone as much as possible and to whatever extent required. So as we could see earlier on, Angela Merkel and Germany had a very anti-integration stance, that is, they were not ready to bring in those common Eurobonds or any common institution which could combine their financial strengths. So what we saw yesterday is a slight change in stance by Germany, and this could well result into some positive policy measures from the EU front. So due to these positive statements, again there was a build up in the risk on assets, that is the higher risk assets. This was mainly because the expectations of some relief for the European Union was expected. Now in India, the foreign exchange reserves of RBI have come down from a high of $320 billion to a low currently at $290 billion. Now these $290 billion are only enough for the next 7 months of import payments. So all in all, we can say that as RBI has done a lot of intervention in the foreign exchange markets, largely to keep the dollar appreciation in limits, has also affected the reserves of the Reserve Bank of India. So going further, we would not see that prompt intervention by the Reserve Bank. So that is again slightly bullish for the dollar against the Indian rupee. Currently, technically speaking, the rupee has been staying in the range of 54.80 to 56.10 in the spot. So again yesterday we had a high around 56 levels in the spot. So from there on, again we saw a downward movement going on in the dollar. Today again we have the dollar testing 55.60 levels. So we can say that range is going to continue technically. But yeah, overall technically we can say that a bullish trend is developing, but it would be advisable to initiate any long positions above the strong resistance of 56.10. In UK, the retail sales data were much better than expected, but this is mainly being attributed to the Olympics that have recently concluded in UK, and no further continuation of such growth would be seen. Hence, it is not that much of a positive for the United Kingdom. We saw some positive movement in the Great Britain pound, but again that was largely tracking the gains in the euro, not because of any specific positive development in the United Kingdom. Again, one of the major stories is the Jackson Hole gathering, in which the Federal Reserve and officials from the United Kingdom and other countries all around the world would come together for a gathering, and people have built up lots of expectations from this gathering that there would be some positive measure being announced by the Federal Reserve, mainly in terms of the quantitative easing that we have all been talking about up till now. So all in all, we can say that there is some positive sentiment developing in the market, but it may not sustain for very long because the quantitative easing round from the Federal Reserve would not be implemented, largely because the current crude oil price has increased by 30% since June lows. So you can say that at $92 a barrel, the crude oil is very expensive, and if another round of quantitative easing is done, we could well see the crude oil prices increase to a great extent. So right now, fundamentally there is no scope for any quantitative easing, but still markets have built up some expectations from the Fed. On the Japanese front, the Japanese yen is currently depreciating in value, not only against the dollar but also against the Indian rupee. This is largely because of a string of positive data from the US. So if such positive data continue to line up from the US, we could see further depreciation in the Japanese yen. Yesterday we had the building permits data, which is an early indicator of the housing starts from the US and indicate the health of the housing market in the US. So this data was also slightly positive on the upside. So we can expect some further positive data from the US. In terms of euro and pound against the INR, we have a bullish trend developing, but still it would be advisable if one would buy the euro above 68.96 levels in the spot, and if we initiate any fresh long positions in the GBP INR, we would recommend a stop loss of 87.55. In terms of Japanese yen, we expect it to fall further, and against INR one can initiate a short position or hold a short position with a stop loss of 70.72 in the spot. Thank you.